to bank alone. And it is an attempt for those institutions to church customer. And it is that time for customer to take their own destiny in their hands and fight for some of these things. And because we have allowed some of these things to fester, people don't complain. That's why, and when they debit you 15 naira, you don't complain. At times when you have the boldness to complain, they will tell you, you have to raise 600 naira. Those are the reasons why some of these things, sometimes they deliberately decide to shortchange you by charging you those fees. And when you don't complain, they continue to charge you. So they are unauthorized, and you have the right to ask the bank to refund you. And it has happened. People have get refund for such illegal charges. If you know what you are doing and you know you're right.
Thank you, sir. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll look at preventive measures available to you as a consumer. Don't go away. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are discussing bank charges and what you as a consumer should do. You can catch up by following us on Twitter, our Facebook, and our website. You're welcome back to the program, sir.
Thank you.
So before we went on a break, you talked about unauthorized charges by banks. Yeah. So as a consumer, what can I do? What preventive measure can I put in place to guard against this?
Yeah, it is simple. Most time when you receive alert for some of those charges, you need to find out what are they meant for. And the appropriate person to approach is to approach your account officer. You ask him, the bank has debited me 100 naira. What is it meant for? The person explained to you. If you are not satisfied, the next person you want to see the manager of your branch. If you are not satisfied and you are convinced that the bank has charged you illegally, nothing stops you from writing officially that they should refund you. And I'm sure if you have a genuine case, you will be refunded. But beyond that, there are so many other areas apart from these charges. When people take facility from the bank and you take a facility of 1 million naira, maybe there's a default. After that, they tell you are owing the bank 2 million naira. You ask yourself why. There are some charges ab initio in those agreements. When you are taking a facility from the bank, for example, they give you an offer letter agreement they ask you to sign. Most times we don't bother to read some of this agreement. Most times people don't call for their bank statement. When you run an account for about 6 months, you should be able to go to your bank and ask them to print out your statement. And at times you'll be amazed the kind of debit in your account. So when you see some of this, try to aggregate them and ask questions. And on the issue of facility, because those are another area where there's always conflict between the bank and the customer. So when you are applying for a loan, they give you offer letter, you try to read into two. And if you don't understand some of those clauses there, you need to call a consultant or anybody to help you to interpret some of those things. I will take you to bank charges on facility, for example. They want to charge you management fee, they want to charge you processing fee, they want to charge you commitment fee. Some of these things you need to understand them ab initio. And most time when you see they want to charge you management fee, is management fee going to be charged one-off? Is management fee going to be charged quarterly, monthly? These are some of these things you need to understand. And another critical area that I want to draw the attention of listening public to is the area of default charge. Most time, default charge creates a lot of confusion, a lot of bickering between the bank and the customer. And when they give you offer letter, there's always a clause there they call penalty charge. So when you default, there are problems. And I will give you, I have 2 examples here that I will read out to the public. And you see that the need for you to understand all of this thing. I will take 2 offer letter from different financial institutions that I will not mention. I will read 2 of them, then we'll look at, we'll try and see the area of difference between the 2. Let me take this one. This is a penalty clause in this particular offer letter. The borrower shall on due date of maturity or on demand by the bank repay any outstanding in full, failure of which the borrower will be liable to pay a penalty in accordance with the bank current penalty rate. It's not stated.
And it's not
you ask yourself, what is the current penalty rate? You don't know, and you append your signature to this time. And let's assume this penalty rate is 20%, is 30%, you don't know. So when you default, they are charging you double what you have. So it is your duty when you see this in and go back to the bank that I want to know what is this penalty rate, and I want it to be stated on the surface of this letter. And let me read another one for you so that you understand some of this better. This is another penalty clause from a different finance company. Should any of the renter remain unpaid for any reason whatsoever, a penalty equal to 2.5 percent of the outstanding renter shall be payable for each day of the period that the renters remain unpaid. Now, this one is straightforward. Okay. That person has told you that my penalty charge is 2.5%. It's not left for you whether it is acceptable to you or you want to renegotiate. It is quite different from the first one that I read, that it is based on the certain condition which you don't understand. So most times customers, they say they can alleviate some of this suffering they are undergoing by understanding the contract between them and their financier ab initio. Then as I talk on the issue of bank statement, you should endeavor to print your statement as a well do. And if you cannot do the print, you are equally have the right to ask your bank to be sending those statements to you online, which is free of charge when they send to you online anyway. Customer has the right to make their own complaint to the relevant authority if they are convinced that the bank is not willing to refund where they are being shortchanged.
Okay, so what is the role of CPC in protecting consumers, bearing in mind that the Central Bank of Nigeria is the regulator of that sector of the economy? What role can CPC do?
Yeah, the role of CPC is straightforward, and there's no ambiguity or conflict. CPC is a protector of a consumer, while CBN is a regulator. The CBN set the rules, and for the operator to abide by the rule, it's a rule of engagement between the bank and the customer. If there are issues, the customer needs to approach the bank for a redress. And if at the end of the day, the bank is unable to meet up with the demand of the customer has the right to approach CPC for redress. And I can assure that CPC on their own, and based on the mandate, they should be able to help the customer to redress the issue. And if there are need to get appropriate refund, CPC should be able to do that for the customer.
Thank you, Mr. Ojo. It's been a delight interacting with you.
It is a pleasure being with you here.
Dear viewers, you've heard it all. Banking charges are legal, but the onus lies on you to ensure that the terms of your engagement are clearly spelled out and understood. Don't go away. When we come back, we will take a look at CPC's activities and Consumer of the Week.
To make a complaint to the Consumer Protection Council in order to obtain redress over a product or a service, you contact the seller or service provider and present your query. Ensure you keep relevant records of your conversation. If the problem is not resolved at this level, complain to CPC. Your complaint should be clear, providing relevant facts such as where and when you bought the product or service. You should state clearly what you want from the seller or service provider. Is it a refund, a repair, or a replacement? Complaints should be sent either to the CPC office nearest to you in any of our zonal offices across Nigeria, CPC head office in Abuja, the official email of the council, or by telephone. CPC does not charge fees for complaints. Following complaints of prolonged delay of the baggage of passengers who arrived Abuja on Turkish airline flights from Istanbul during the Yuletide season, CPC has issued an ultimatum to Turkish Airlines to provide a full situation report of the events. CPC, in a letter signed by its Director General, Mrs. Dukwe Atoki, directed the airlines to explain issues surrounding the alleged ill treatment of its passengers, which, if confirmed, contravenes Section 12 of the CPC Act. According to CPC, the baggage of the passengers of the Turkish Airlines flight of December 20th started arriving only on the 25th of December, indicating that the airline boarded passengers thereafter, knowing full well that their baggages would not be transported with them. CPC further noted that the passengers, some of whom traveled with minors, were put to great inconvenience and hardship, as they were unduly deprived of their belongings and other items necessary to accomplish the purpose of their trips. The incident report from the airline was being awaited at the time of filing this report. All roads led to the Nigerian Air Force